when I was 6 years old, I was diagnosed with a rare and life-threatening disorder called Hunter's, or MPS II. Now, growing up with Hunter's always seemed pretty normal to me. I mean, as far back as I could remember, I always knew I had it, so I didn't really have a life before it. But there was one question that always lingered in my mind. I always wanted to know how other people dealt with it. How did people affected with the disorder deal with it? How did their families deal with it? How did their siblings deal with it? So to answer this question, this past summer, I spent 90 days on the road, drove approximately 15,000 miles, and stayed with about 40 different families. Now, each of these families had one person, or at least one person in that family, that had an MPS disorder.
Polysaccharidosis. That's it. What is that? You know, both of us had medical training, but we had no idea what that meant.
I think they spend maybe 2 minutes on it in medical school.
We used just them. She handed me this pamphlet, and it was a terrible pamphlet.
Yes,
it was horrible. It was frightening. It was disturbing. It was something she should have never. Nobody should. That was the wrong information. Let's just put it that way. It's not like that at all, but it was very scary.
Oh, sure. This is a picture of Stefanie. This was taken on her 15th birthday, and this is actually the pamphlet that was given out at her funeral service. And on the back of this flyer we wrote, "Pain and acceptance can coexist in the heart to create peace." And that's one thing we learned, is that, you know, there's a place in your heart to allow that grief and to allow that pain and that hurt, and not allow it to take over your life and ruin your life, but to allow it to exist, and you can deal with it and manage it and accept it, so that you can have a peaceful life and still treasure what life is given.
One thing that you're going to find out is, as you're diagnosed and you get more involved with MPS, you're going to find that your family's going to grow. There's many, many, many wonderful people out there through the MPS family that you're going to meet, and you're going to learn to cherish these people and to love them very much. They're really the only people that's going to understand what you're going through. So my advice is to embrace these people, get to know them, and because you're gonna find a lot of strength and a lot of knowledge through these other individuals who's walking the same path as you.
How old are you approximately?
39, but I feel like I'm 90 something in MPS years.
I think having a third child has actually helped a little bit with that.
It's been really good. I definitely think, that was definitely God. So we actually, I was actually heading to the doctor to get a vasectomy, and totaled my car, and then never rescheduled the appointment. And we had Amy.
2 months later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you say facial features. Do you mean he looks like me? Which means he's dead sexy.
He's dead sexy. Hot.
He is a handsome boy.
Yeah.
Well, we've been through this once. We can do it again. If Levi has Hunters, we know the avenues of approach to take. We know what to do. We're pros, and we'll just have to take it day by day with him too. And
I chose to drive almost 2 hours to the doctor's to have the best neonatologists and everyone, and they kept good track of him on ultrasound. We found out for sure that it was a boy.
Okay.
And they pushed and pushed, wanting me to have the amnio, and I just told them
no,
there's nothing's it won't change anything. He's already there, he's already growing, he's already our son.
we kind of got to a point where we were open to adopting for special needs. And so we thought, well, if we're feeling like we should adopt a child with special needs, maybe we should just go ahead and trust God, because we're not in control anyway, and try for one ourselves, because there's only a 25% chance. We know San Filippo. We love our kids regardless, and we think that they're not broken. They're just different, and that they have a lot to offer, and they've been a huge blessing to us. So we would love another child with San Filippo. We don't look at it as a disability for our family. We look at it as just that's the way God made them, and we're gonna love them regardless. So
a lot of it is I never treated him any different. To me, it was just my little brother, and I just treated him like any older sister would, you know.
Yeah.
And what probably affected me negatively is seeing other people treat him very differently, and special treatment. And you know, and some things there are limitations, but some things I'd see people treat him and still treat him differently with things that have nothing to do with his limitations or his disease or anything like that. So that's probably the biggest thing.
You know, just do what you love. Be who you are. It's just because you have this condition doesn't set you back. There's ways around difficulties. It's a hurdle placed in front of you, just jump over it, get around it.
Okay. Now, would you say anything to the parents of children who were just diagnosed?
To the parents, you know, it is a life-changing experience, but it doesn't mean you can't live a normal or so-called normal life. It doesn't mean that your child's going to be the outcast of a group.
I feel like as an older sibling, you generally don't kind of, I don't know, look up to your younger sibling as much as I think that I do, just because, I mean, I go to the doctor and get a flu shot and I feel like I'm going to pass out. And then I see all the things that he does and I just feel ridiculous, because it's amazing to me how many things that he's gone through and how positive he's managed to stay for the most part.
I think, you know, Richard too, he motivated you to push yourself to be as good as you can be. You know, when like you have all these gifts, you can move, you know, when you can move and you're, you know, I was pretty athletic, like, you know, I feel like I was motivated even more because he couldn't do it. You know, I was going to go out there and do the best I could with the things that I had. And so I think, you know, there is a motivation there to make him proud, to do the best he can.
You know, I think about how fortunate I am to have a brother like Richard, but also, you know, what I should be doing to better myself all the time, because I'm so fortunate not to have a disease like MPS, you know, specifically San Filippo 3A. You know, I think it has a big impact to motivate you to try and do things with your life and get out there and just try and help people. Because when you have a twin brother diagnosed with a disease like that, it almost makes you want to get up and go and make a serious impact anywhere in the world, just anywhere.
Do you think that your brother being the way he is has affected what you want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. He's the reason why I want to help people for the rest of my life. Well, it hurts me to see him. Actually, I feel guilty sometimes that I was the one that got to live a normal life. A lot of times, actually. Every time I'm going to school or I'm going to work and I go to say bye to him, I get like a feeling of guilt. And I've even told my friends sometimes that, you know, I wish it was me sometimes.
Hang in there and just enjoy them for who they are. Don't try to think about who they were at 2 or 3 years old or what they were. Enjoy who they are now, and just enjoy them as they are.
Sometimes he's mad at me and sometimes he's nice.
Do you know that most brothers are like that?
You should have seen Uncle Cleve and I. Whew. Joy.
Okay, well, you guys want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Bye.